Hello and welcome to Data Leaders, your weekly data, digital and analytics update in under 20 minutes. Welcome to episode 7, Sunday, 21st of March, 2021. Let's get going. Okay, welcome. It's the end of March, 21st of March. It's not quite the end. 1 week to go until the clocks go. Which way do they go? Forward? Back? I don't know. The clocks change and we get lighter days, which I'm sure we're all looking forward to. So welcome to Data Leaders and your weekly update in under 20 minutes. So what do you think? The new look? We have a cheesy, that side, on-air thing with a broken arm, so we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to fix that, but hopefully you like the look. We have a new camera, hopefully better visuals. We're continuing to increment in the true style and spirit of Data Leaders. So let me know what you think. Leave a comment below and make sure that you subscribe and like the channel. That really helps us. It really helps us get more viewers and more people joining the channel and benefiting from the content. So please make sure you do that. Now, a couple of things to talk about this week. So I'd like to talk about podcasts very briefly. Kyle Winterbottom was gracious enough to invite me on his podcast channel this week. And you would have seen, if you follow on LinkedIn, you would have seen that already, but I will provide a link down below. And I'll also provide a link to my good friend and colleague, Camilla Bjorkvist, who was also on a podcast this week. Make sure you listen to that, particularly if you're interested in the cultural transformation and the academy approach to delivering parts of that transformation. Also, this week we have been focused on finding and structuring the Data Advisory Board, or the Data Leaders Advisory Board. And thank you to everybody who has provided your applications to that. We will be announcing the Data Leaders Advisory Board within the next week. So watch out and follow us on LinkedIn to make sure you're part of the group on LinkedIn. We will be making that announcement this coming week, and we have pulled together a great group of individuals from different ages, positions in the business, within data, within the organizations, different levels of experience, and from different industries. So look out for that, and we will let you know this coming week. Also coming up this week, and a reason you will want to be subscribed and tick the little bell to make sure that you get notifications, we have the first of our interview series this week on data mesh. And watch out, really talking about why we need to move away from data lakes, which might surprise you. Many companies haven't even managed to do that transition yet, but towards newer and different ways of looking at data productization within the data mesh. So watch out for that. It's coming this week, and you'll want to make sure that you are subscribed to the channel in order to be told when that's available. The very first interview in the interview series. And I'll say this, originally we hadn't intended to do interviews, but I've had so much demand for people who wanted to come on the channel and wanted to share things with you, the Data Leaders community, that we've decided to do them on an ad hoc basis, not on a regular basis, but we'll do them on an ad hoc basis as we get opportunities. And there are at least 2 other interviews lined up, so there's plenty of content coming your way. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. So with that said, let's get into the content this week. So first off, a couple of articles that are really short, just around innovation, and in particular, Facebook continues to hit the news with developments of VR and AR technology. This week, it's developing a neural wristband to support augmented reality glasses. So these augmented reality glasses are intended to be coming out hopefully this year. The wristband can support hand gestures, but also it can sense nerve signals, which should be quite interesting in terms of what it can be able to produce in terms of the intricacy and accuracy of specific hand gestures and hand movements. And watch out, if they bring out those augmented reality glasses this year, then I will be certain to be trying to get at the front of the queue to test them out and show them to you. In addition, IBM has built an AI capable of holding its own with a human debate. And in this context, they brought together an accomplished debater, and it's in the context of something called Project Debater within IBM. So they gave 15 minutes prep time to both the human debater and the machine with no access to additional internet, so completely disconnected from the internet. they had to give a 4-minute speech and then a 2-minute closing statement. So the AI would need to produce, based on its library of information, a 4-minute speech and a 2-minute closing statement. The world-renowned debater Natarajan was judged to have won, but the important thing actually here is that the project debater was able to form logical statements and arguments over the course of the debate. Finally, in this section, the European Space Agency is developing a digital twin of Earth. Amazing that you might think that, you know, when we create digital twins, there's a tremendous amount of inputs in terms of data, and to create the digital twin of Earth would be hugely immense. I think mostly this looks like it's starting to focus on weather data. It will be used to predict extreme climate change induced weather events. They will use neural networks and quantum computing to create the model. The model will evolve over the next decade as scientists use feed the model to with data from the European Union Copernicus program, which essentially is weather data predominantly, as far as I can tell, that will be fed into this new digital twin of Earth. Quite an amazing technological step that's being taken by the European Union and the European Space Agency. Okay, on to the stories this week. The first story that we're going to cover is from Walters Technology. I can't show you the detailed article because it's a paid subscription, but the Walters Technology article looks at innovation in market data, and it looks at projects that are driving that innovation. Now, the market data arena has traditionally been a little bit pedestrian around innovation more generally. It sort of pioneered a lot of the things around co-location and low latency data, but generally speaking, it's not a particularly fast-moving market in terms of innovation more generally. So, recent needs to check further on sentiment has been realized purely through, you know, the GameStop issue and the challenge that traditional markets had around the crowd really moving towards the sentiment of one particular stock. Now, perhaps this was much more of an emotionally driven or you know, trying to break the establishment of the existing markets. But either way, the businesses that work in these markets need to develop ways of addressing that. So traditionally, they might have relied on sentiment from Robinhood, thought that was perhaps sufficient. But in this case, being able to spot Reddit groups that were spinning up and get sentiment from those when there are so many different Reddit groups and so much information out there to be able to consume is a larger, more complex task, but nonetheless one that probably needs to be done in order to spot this happening in the future. The data would need to be attached to asset classes to be able to see that GameStop was indeed the target. Now, the article makes a jump and it calls out the potential of blockchain to address this issue. I think it's a bit of a leap for me, really, from linking identifiers to blockchain. Certainly that would be forcing blockchain into a space that could be probably solved a little bit easier. Although, let me say on record that I am a crypto fanatic and follow crypto markets super closely. However, the article does make a good point about licensing. Licensing has always been a challenge in market data, and crypto would be a fantastic opportunity to be able to track usage. But I'm still a little bit skeptical around the performance impact that crypto might have if you started to use it for licensing, particularly in high frequency trading capabilities or in market data, which tends to be much more of a real-time market. So I think blockchain crypto technology needs to develop a little further. We know that crypto technology has had challenges in terms of performance. Bitcoin will probably never be a payment mechanism because of that. But there are many emerging cryptocurrencies and crypto tokens that could well fill that space, and performance is definitely being addressed certainly through Ethereum 2.0 and more recently Cardano and other cryptocurrencies that might be able to support much more real-time capabilities. But we'll see, watch this space. Crypto and blockchain could be an emerging technology, particularly in the market data space. We'll wait and see. So the other thing it's always worth taking a look at is Facebook AI. And for the main reason being brain stimulation, keeping you current. This article takes a look at the disentanglement problem which is traditionally a difficult thing for AI to do. The images reflect the AI's lack of ability to identify a school bus in this instance, and it mistakes it for a snowplow. And the school bus is on its side, and that generally creates an image recognition problem for the AI, which is why you're seeing it recognize it as a snowplow. AI's difficulty in perceiving changes of shapes in different scenarios is really the core problem, and we call that problem the disentanglement problem. The article touches on equivalent operations and determining operations for each variant. So you can go down a bit of a rabbit hole in this article, as I did, looking for or trying to understand group theory, which is a mathematical focus. So be warned, but take a look at the Facebook AI more generally, and this article in particular will give you some definite brain stimulation for the weekend to start to think about, the new developments that are taking place in AI and the new approaches that are being taken, particularly by this group of guys. It's very theoretical, this article, but definitely worth a quick read. It's a short article indeed. So this last article is on making sure you discover the right AI opportunities. And we have touched on this in previous episodes. We've talked about how to set up a data organization to make sure you filter the right use cases. But this is specific to AI, although I think the underlying capabilities are very much the same. The useful thing here really is the infographic that's provided as a really quick and easy reference. So I think it's valuable. The infographic lays out the prerequisites, and I think those prerequisites are similar to the ones we've laid out before. First of all, the data requirements. So you have to have the data requirements, and this isn't just the case. It's very high level in the infographic, but of course you need to know whether you have the data available for the model. You need to understand what data is required in the model. You need to be able to clean and understand the quality of the data within the model. You need to understand the schema and set up the schema in the right way so as the model performs the right way. So there's a number of different things within the data requirements that you would need to pay attention to. The infographic is still very high level, which it is in each of these sections, by the way. So the understanding of the business process, of course, you have to understand what's happening in the business process and how it works, because if you're going to implement or introduce AI to it, then you need to understand where the AI is going to fit and the potential impact on that business process that AI might have. Equally, how that business process will interact with AI if you need a human in the loop, as an example. The IT infrastructure, we've covered this a number of times, but critically important to understand the relative maturity, your ability to be able to deliver the AI on top of what you already have, or whether you might need other providers, other software, additional software. All of those things are going to affect the cost model. The current user interface or experience. So how is the user going to interact, and how might that change when AI is present in the model? So as you introduce AI, understand the impacts to the user community. Of course, that's critically important. And of course, talking of critically important, probably one of the most important prerequisites and determinants for feasibility is actually the business case. When you understand the cost of doing this, does it actually have a return? Is it worthwhile doing? And of course, it's not just necessarily always a dollar value component or a euro value component. It is also how might this impact customer service? How might that customer service value pull through to more sales, more retention, more other components that of course do have dollar and euro values associated with them, but are not necessarily as obvious as they might seem in the first instance. And then of course, and critically important, alignment to strategy, particularly if you want to keep executives in the loop and you want to continue to make sure that your AI strategy is connected with your broader business strategy. Super critical to do. The infographic then also talks about the creation of a core team to be able to support this, and it talks about the partnership of business and data science, and of course those two components need to be present and continuously present as this thing develops. The inclusion of the executive team, of course, connection to the executive team is critically important to make sure that you keep the executive team updated in terms of where you are at a very high level, that you get them to approve the value case, and you get them to support the application of business resource in particular, which can quite often be difficult to get applied to these processes. Business resources to continue to support the capability, and the change that it requires in the broader organization as you develop and deliver AI. Executive support is critically important for that. The partnership with IT, of course, is important to make sure that you and IT are working together, that IT are also challenging the feasibility of the model, that they're looking at the operational capability, the software capability that's going to support this, and how that's going to be supported going forwards. And of course, there will be a cost in IT usually for the continuous support of an AI capability. So making sure IT are in the room and partnering closely with you is also really important. And of course, the iteration process. This infographic talks about iterating and making sure people are kept up to date, making sure that you can shift and move your priorities as you move forwards. And iteration and the culture that supports that will continue to be really important to the success of any AI implementation in this space. So guys, that is everything for this week, and thank you for focusing on the content this week. We're getting through these videos relatively quickly at the moment, so really interested to hear what you think about the length, the relative length of the videos, and whether they're too fast, too slow, too much content, not enough. Let me know. Leave a comment in the comments, or let me know in the group on LinkedIn. Okay, so that's it for this week. Like I say, lots of things coming up in the coming week, so watch out for the new video, the interview on data mesh. That's going to be great fun. I hope you all enjoy that, and a break from the normal routine of these videos with just me, quite honestly. So hope you enjoyed that one, and watch out also for the appointment of the data leaders advisory board. Really excited to have other people on board with me on this journey. Like I say, over the last few weeks, we've hit some bumps in the road, and I really want to make sure that we have the right minds around the table to help us move on. And remember that Data Leaders is always a not-for-profit organization. So we've set this up to be a not-for-profit. We're not here to make money. We're here to do this for the community. And equally, it takes a lot of time out of my weekend mostly. So we do this for you guys. So really grateful to have you here, but really keen to hear from you what you really want out of this, and how we develop this to be the best thing for you. So please communicate with me, please let me know, and look forward to the announcements coming up over the next week. It's going to be a big week, and I look forward to seeing you in episode 8.